Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Hydreigon in the Halloween Cup. This Pokemon has of course access to their move Brutal Swing, and therefore is a maybe more interesting Pokemon to take a look at, as we had a community day this year with this Pokemon. I kind of thought of using Chandelure, but Chandelure is kind of similar to like Pokemon that I already used. I already had two fire types showcased on my channel if you haven't seen this. Fire types in this meta are pretty nice unless you face something like the Tyranitar here. But we can take a look at this team now. We're going to have a very horrible matchup here with the Tyranitar, one Charm user, and they most likely have another Charmer in the back, which would completely hardwall us. They're going to try to let us farm a little bit more so we don't get as much farm on our Toxapex. But let's see what we can do here. We will be able to go into our Toxapex again. We will be able to knock out this Tyranitar with one more Brine. But I'm not sure if this is enough now. We will see if what they have in the back. If it's a Charmer, we're done, but it's actually Sharpedo, and Sharpedo has no chance at all against Hydreigon. Also, sorry for the two Pokemon, by the way, that's Kaiwei Chang here. Two Pokemon that I play here as well. I tried different teams around Hydreigon prior, and those went pretty horrible. I tried like some more, not spicier, but a little bit more squishier stuff, like Nidoqueen, Shadow Nidoqueen, and Spiders as a safe swap. But at the end of the day, like, they were just too squishy for this meta that I kind of just settled with like Toxapex and the Sableye to at least get some wins. And actually, when I started doing this, I had some very great games that actually went 4-1 and 3-2. And the final set I just forfeit because I wasn't really in the mood of playing right now. How is your mood currently playing Go Battle League? For me, it's nothing even to do really with the game or whatever. We have Great League available. We have the Halloween Cup available, but it's like the thing, as soon as you hit Legend, what I just did like this week as well, or like last week, you don't really have anything to wait for, like something that you really want to get anymore, so that's kind of tricky. Here they run a very strong meta team, and of course our Hydreigon doesn't really enjoy this too much, as they can go for one Sludge Wave here and they will be able to nearly knock us out. We can go for one Charge Move here, but this will not be enough to KO the Toxapex there. If you didn't know, Brutal Swing is a Surf clone, so it does, I think it's like 60 damage then. For, I think it's 60 damage, I'm not sure, maybe it's 65 damage, I think it's maybe 65 damage for 40 energy. Definitely the best move that you can run on Hydreigon, but if you don't have a Hydreigon, Spireless is, in my opinion, a little bit better still. I have here, of course, the Flash Cannon, which could be cool coming clutch, but actually I don't think I've ever used it. There was no opportunity for me to use Flash Cannon. Usually can farm down something like a Fairy type, not a Fairy type, like a Dragon type or like any other normal type, a Water type for example. Then you can have this for the fairies that might come in against you, as Flash Cannon would be super effective against them. But yeah, it's a little bit tricky to use this Pokemon in general. It's a very squishy Pokemon, has a ton of weaknesses. Like if you think about it, you are a Dragon in the Dark type, you're weak to fairies, like Charm, basically double weakness there, like 3 Charms might KO you, I think. You have a weakness to fighting types, like the Toxicroak we just saw. We have a weakness to bug types. We have a weakness to ice types. We have like so many weaknesses there that's kind of insane, to be honest. But actually, as you can see here, we are not in the correct league. We are playing the Open Great League. I queued up with this team twice into the Open Great League, and as you can see here, it doesn't even look too bad. I actually had a pretty decent run with this team in Open Great League, so maybe it's even a better team in Open Great League, I'm not sure, but my opponent decides to forfeit there with a Registeel, which is kind of hilarious. And I think it happens another time in this video as well, where I accidentally go into the wrong league again. Happens, like, if you can use both teams in the same league, sometimes you just go autopilot and just click the first one, which is in this case the Great League instead of the Halloween Cup. So sorry for this, but yeah, there will be, maybe even one more game is in there in the wrong league, which sadly just happens, but hey, I still at least won there. We see here the Dynamic Punch version of Toxicroak. Very interesting moveset. Like, Dynamic Punch is something that's a little bit more unique. Gives it some more potential, but against like Steel types, you're already decent anyway. So I don't know how much it's needed, to be honest. But still, we will see the Azumarill coming in here. It's a little bit of a tricky matchup. We still can get to one return at least, which is nice. And we will be able to go for... They will be able to go for a charge move, and we can realign our Toxapex now. Let's see what they want to do. They're going to swap out into their Scissor. I go into my Hydreigon. And this is going to be a tough one here because, of course, Hydreigon cannot really take an X-Scissor. But they're actually going to go for the Night Slash because most likely they are running the Night Slash and also the Iron Head, which is the recommended moveset, I think, on Scissor or like Scyther here. Scissor. It's Scissor here. It's right there. As we will get hit by this Night Slash. It actually doesn't KO us, but you see how much damage this Pokemon does against you. It's kind of crazy. We see the Scissor coming in here with one more Night Slash against us. They get the boost, which is not very nice, but we can go for one charge move to try to knock them out, and we will be able to knock them out here. And we see the Azumarill just forfeiting here, and it's going to be a good game. Next opponent, we're going to see a Nidoqueen in the lead. How do you deal with this? I'm going to go into my Sableye and see how we can do here. We can go for one foul play here. This will not guarantee, like, it doesn't guarantee me to get a shield, but it actually gives me a shield here. It's more likely because they're Shadow. If they're not Shadow, they're survival with like 30, 35 HP still, or like percentage of its HP still. We see an XL version of the Grimer here, a Lowling Grimer, being able to resist my fast move and my first charge move. We have to go for one return. We will get the final shield by them. But it's a little bit tricky. We try to swap out in time and we swap into our Toxapex in time, which is pretty nice because they go for one crunch now. I can farm up a little bit more of extra energy here, and they kind of are forced to stay in here. But I also have to throw some energy soon. Let's see what we can do here. But they're actually going to go into their own Toxapex now, where we can go for one Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave will do the most damage against it, but of course it doesn't really do a ton of damage. We try to go for another charge move here just to basically get some more damage on them here, but it's going to be a tough one as they are able to basically get a ton of energy here. They're gonna go for one Sludge Wave, which is nice for us because at least they went for the more higher hitting move, because they could have also went for the Brine. Brine wouldn't have KO'd me. They would have got their energy basically back there and we would have been in a way worse spot. But like this, we will see that they go for their Nidoqueen again here against our our Hydreigon. We will be able to farm them down. We will be able to maybe get to another move here. Let's see, we are shieldless. What do they have? They're going to go into the Toxapex again. They sadly get to a charge move here, which is really annoying because we kind of really needed that. And we cannot try to farm them down here because they sadly just KOs us at the same time, which is kind of interesting because our moves are of course neutral and their moves are resisted, but Toxapex is just so bulky. Like, Toxapex is such a cheat code in this meta right now. This Pokemon is good against basically everything that also kind of supposed to beat him. Here we have a Crustle coming in. Our fast moves are resisted, but Brine still does a ton of damage because it's super effective thanks to the rock typing, which means we can just go ahead and go for another Brine. Gonna get the shield here, and we can swap out into our Sableye afterwards if we want to, and we will do exactly this. We might want a shield here because our Rock Slide would do a ton of damage against us. This Rock Slide come through and we will be able to knock them out, and we see a Tyranitar coming in. This is horrible. I should have maybe tried to build up to one return, go for the return, because this foul play doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would be, and I will be able to now go for one or more foul play. I will be able to get the final shield of them, and they can sadly farm me down. At this point, I kind of want to rely on the Hydreigon that I have in the bag with a one shield advantage, so I'm going to let this crunch go through. We will be able to farm on the Tyranitar there, and we will see a Toxapex in the back. Can we still win this? It's going to be a tough one, because Toxapex, of course, does not super effective, but neutral damage with their fast moves, but we are very squishy, so you see how much damage it does, and they can just go straight Brine, and I think they should be able to win this game here. Let's see what we can do. We can go for another Brutal Swing. This Brutal Swing will come through, or will put them low, and we can farm them down in time. This must have been pretty close. I think they were close to another Brine there as well, which would have most likely knocked us out because we are super squishy. Next opponent, we will see a Tentacruel in the lead. Tentacruel is pretty cool, as we will see the Manabus coming in now, which is something that we like to see here because we don't really have a lot against it in our bag there. We have, of course, our Hydreigon, which can be doing something there at least, but it's still a little bit tricky there, as we will see that they're going to shield up my charge move, which is interesting, but I mean, it's smart because it will be the harder hitting move, definitely. I'm not going to bait here in this matchup. I will be able to go for another charge move here, but it's going to be a tough one still for me now, because I kind of have to try to swap onto his charge move, which works out perfectly fine, onto my Hydreigon against this foul play. Still gonna do some damage, but we see the Tentacruel coming back in, where we can now greet it with one Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing going to do some nice damage here, as we will see them going for their final shield. They are shieldless now, and I sadly cannot get to the Brutal Swing, just barely. We needed one more turn to get there, but we will be able to let the first move go through against our Sableye. They go straight Scald. Smart move here. Scald does a ton of damage, and we have to shield up the next move, which is going to be another Scald, and they will be able to not get the debuff there, which is nice for us. We can go for one more charge move here. This foul play will knock them out, and let's see what they're going to go into. They go into the Manabus. Interesting play, and they're going to go into their Swallows now, which is kind of horrible for me, And I think I kind of misplay this, but let's see. We will be able to go for like a Sludge Wave, get them low, and they sadly get to the move here. It's going to be a Body Slam, I know this, but I'm most likely going to get farmed out anyway by the Mandibuzz. And I think if I just like stayed in a little bit better with the Sableye, try to go for some moves there, but yeah, sadly we are going to lose this game now because they're going to get to a charge move here anyway, and we will lose just barely. Next opponent, we will see the opponent having here Toxapex against Toxapex. Oh, what a nice matchup. Is this the dude? No, this is a dude that runs still the Poison Jab. I faced definitely one person with the Bite as a fast move, which actually kind of wrecked me, but I'm not sure if it's in there. I played an entire day with this team and had some fun, so like, there's not every battle in there, of course, because I don't want to make a 1-hour video about this team. As we see a Bite version of the Drapion coming in. At least we have some Bite action here, as we see the Brine coming through. And against Bite, we should be able to resist everything that this Drapion can do against us, as they go for one charge move, which can only really be the Awkward Tail here. Still gonna do a ton of damage because there's Shadow, but we will be able to still survive this. We will be able to go for our own charge, which is going to be the Brutal Swing now against this Toxapex. We're going to get them low. We are not going to shield this. We're going to let this move go through. It's going to be a Brine. We survive it still, but we sadly don't get to another move. Let's see what the Sableye can do here. The Sableye can do a ton of stuff, as they have a Golurk in the back. And Golurk is a cool Pokemon, but not really decent against my team here. So we will be able to knock them out, and we will be able to now also knock out the opponent's Toxapex. Good game there. Nothing that they can do. They're even going to let this move go through, even though they have 2 shields. Next opponent, we will see Toxapex against a Scissor. Not the best move, like not the best matchup there, as we see a Drapion coming in. Drapion is kind of tough with this team, to be honest. Going to be able to go for one crunch here. Of course, they're going to get the defense drop, which is kind of huge because now I cannot take this next crunch, but it's fine. We can go for our foul play. We're going to get the shield first, which is nice. They're going to go for another charge move now. Going to be the crunch. I could go straight for the return here now, and I'm gonna go straight for the return. Let's see if they want to let this move go through or if they want to shield it up. And they want to shield up, which is kind of bad for me, but I can at least see impede here on their charge move. Go for one foul play here. I'm gonna get this thing low, and we will see them going for one charge move here, going to be the Awkward Tail actually. Doesn't KO me, but it's better for them because they can now get some extra farm against me. We will be able to go into our Toxapex and try to farm all the way down with Poison Jab. I don't think they're going to swap out here, but I'm going to swap out here, which wasn't the smartest idea. They're gonna go for one more crunch against my Hydreigon. They're gonna go into the Scissor here. I cannot go for the move in time. I have to shield this move up here, and I have to, I definitely have to shield here. Gonna go for the Brutal Swing now, and this Brutal Swing should be able to knock them out, please. It does knock them out, and we see a Jellicent coming in, and actually we will be able to just barely get to the Brutal Swing at the same time as they're going to get to a 1 Bubble Beam here, and we will be able to get this thing low enough that our Toxapex will be able to sweep endgame, and they're going to forfeit here. Good game to my opponent. Into the final match, we see a Dragalge. Horrible lead for us, but we can go ahead and go for some foul play action here. We see a Wormadam coming in. This Wormadam runs the move Bug Bite, which makes it now actually a pretty neutral matchup against the Sableye. But because we have so much energy basically on the Sableye, this matchup is not as neutral anymore for them, because we're going to be able to just go ahead and go for another foul play here and get either 2 shields here or win back switch advantage, and we're gonna get 2 shields, which is nice because I can go into my Toxapex. They have Psybeam theoretically as a charge move, but nobody uses it because it's so horrible. So all the moves going to be resisted on me, which is very nice for me, and we see the Dragalge coming in, which you're going to try to farm all the way down, but we might have to invest 2 shields into this. Of course I can go for the Awkward here, but for me, I think it's just worth it to farm them all the way down. I will be able to get to another move afterwards, and I will be able to farm them all the way down. We have the Brutal Swing stored already. They're gonna go into the Wormadam again, as they would have the Bug Bite, which would have definitely knocked us out there. We see a Scissor coming in, and let's see if our Toxapex will be able to still win this game. Scissor can only go for the Night Slash. Hopefully they don't get the boost. Let's see, we can go for our charge move. We don't even see if they have got the boost or not. We will be able to go for the Brine. Brine will nearly knock them out, and we will be able to now go for the next Brine, but sadly they get to another move, which we're just barely going to survive, and we will be able to win this final game here as well. Hydreigon itself is definitely a very cool squishy Pokemon to use in this meta. It's not as good as its smaller brother Swallows, which is going to be a little bit better, but yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for watching, see you next one, have a great rest of your day, bye!